Good morning, student. Today I will explain the second part of our chapter 3 questions. In first part, we saw when the king went to the hermit was digging beds in front of his hut. The hermit was old and weak. The king offered him to help. Now the king started digging. After digging two beds, the king asked hermit his three questions, but the hermit did not answer his question. In the evening, the king again requested the hermit to answer his questions, but at that moment, someone came running towards the hermit's hut. The king turned round and saw a bearded man came running towards them. His hands were pressed against his stomach, from which blood was flowing. As he reached to the king, he fainted and fell to the ground. He had a large wound in his stomach. The king washed and covered it with his handkerchief. At last, the bleeding stopped. The man felt better and asked some water to drink. The king brought fresh water and gave him to drink. The sun had set by this time. The king, with the help of hermit, carried wounded man into the hut and laid him on the bed. The king was also so tired, he also laid on the floor and slept. In the next morning, when he woke up, the bearded man was asking for forgiveness. The king was surprised. Why the bearded man asking for forgiveness? Now the bearded man explained the whole incident to the king. He told that he swore revenge on the king as the king put his brother to death and seized his property. Now the bearded man explained the king that he was waiting for his return and he was hiding near the hermit's cottage. But as the time passed and the king did not return, he came out from his hiding place, and the bodyguard of the king recognized him and wounded him. The bearded man said to the king, if the king had not dressed his wounds, he should have died. So he was asking for forgiveness. But the king, on the other hand, was very happy because he made peace with his enemy so easily. The king not only forgave him but also promised to give back his property. The bearded man also promised to serve the king as a faithful servant rest of his life. They both made the peace. Leaving the wounded man, the king went out of the hut and looked round for the hermit. The hermit was on his knees showing seed in the beds that had been dug the day before. The king went to the hermit and last time asked his same questions. The hermit said to the king that he had already been answered. The king was surprised and asked the hermit how he had been answered. The hermit explained if he had not pitied his weakness, he would have gone away. Then that man would attack him. So the most important time was when he was digging the beds, and the hermit was the most important man for him, and doing his good was the most important business. Later, when the man came, the most important time was when he was caring for him, because if he had not dressed his wounds, he would have died without making peace with the king. So, he was the most important person, and what the king did for him was his most important business. So the hermit said to the king, "Remember then, there is only one time that is important, and that time is now. It is the most important time because it is the only time we have any power to act. The most necessary or important person is the person you are with at a particular moment, and the most important business is to do good for that person." As everybody was sent into this world for that purpose alone. I hope you will understand the chapter. Read this chapter yourself again.